I'm back already. 2 videos in one day. Oh my god. All right. So I'm gonna answer your questions. I almost forgot about this, but I'm gonna do it now. I have the time and I'm set up, so why not? But first, I want to remind people that I know I've had a few new subscribers. If you are one of those people, leave a comment down below. I made a video. It's probably going on almost 3 weeks, probably not quite yet. And I said 3 weeks, but I'm doing a giveaway for new subscribers only. We already did the one for current subscribers, and it's the Cosmic Slumber Tarot that you will be getting. So if you're a new subscriber, just comment below. US only, unfortunately. If you're international and really want it, and you're a new subscriber and want to pay for the shipping, I guess I would do it. I'm just kind of poor and I can't afford international shipping. And it's probably not really worth international shipping. It's an Amazon deck. But if you're new, comment below or comment on the original video. Either way, just let me know you want to be entered. That's all you got to do. And I think probably by the end of the week, I will have the video up and do the drawing for that one. So enough about that. Questions? I haven't really read them, so we're going to do it now. There's not many people that commented, so it shouldn't take too long. Let's see what kind of questions we have in here. A little bit nervous. Okay, so Strength Reversed. What was your first tarot deck, and which is your favorite? Favorite and least favorite tarot cards. First tarot deck. Honestly, I think it might have been... It was either the Wildwood or the Arthurian. The original, not the newer Arthurian, but the original Arthurian tarot. I think one of those was my first, but right around the same time I got the Centennial too. And that is my favorite deck. I think all in all, the Centennial, I love the Rider-Waite. I love the vintage vibe that the Centennial gives. I love the backs. The cardstock isn't the worst. It's not my favorite because it is really stiff, but the deck itself just makes up for that. So that's probably my favorite deck, Centennial Rider-Waite. My favorite tarot card is probably the Moon. It's very typical, I think. Like, I just love the mystery of the moon. So the Moon is probably my absolute favorite. Others high up on that list are the High Priestess and the Queen of Swords. 2 of my other favorites, but probably the Moon. My least favorite, I think, is it's so weird, but probably the Nine of Cups. Isn't that weird? But I think it derives from, it's the only image in the Rider-Waite I'm like, nah. Because it shows kind of almost a gluttonous looking guy that's really overly excited about all of his, his possessions. That's what it puts me in mind of. So that's kind of the feeling I've always had from that card, even though the Knight of Cups has many more meanings. It's more about, really emotional fulfillment. And that's another reason I'm like meh about it, because it's so close to the Ten of Cups, meaning-wise, in that sense. They're both about emotional fulfillment. I guess 9 is more like personal, and 10 is more like on a social. So, but there's no tarot cards I don't really like, but 9 of Cups is probably my least favorite if I had to choose one. What does your hair look like without your cap on? I just got it cut though, so I don't know that that's really fair. It looks like crap when it's long without my hat on. And I think I did see one of these and it asks why I wear it. We'll see, but this is kind of what it looks like without it most of the time when I have it cut. I was wondering what happened. Okay, it looks like where you been? Once I feel comfortable. Thank you, Miss Silver. There's no question, but I really appreciate the comment. Esoteric says this will be interesting. 78 cards. Why do you wear it? Is why do you wear a cap all the time? Because I'm very self-conscious. Especially when my hair is long. I was trying to grow it out, but it was in that middle stage. where it's just really tough to do anything with. And that's why I was wearing a cap absolutely all the time, because I was like, screw it. Like, that it would take me an hour in front of a mirror to get, because I'm vain and that with my hair. So that's why I don't like what my hair looked like without the cap on. And I was trying to get it long. So, and sometimes, some days I just don't feel like doing my hair or worrying about it, and then I will wear a cap as well. So that's why I wear it. Do you see yourself continuing to live in America? For the time being, definitely yes. I don't see myself going anywhere anytime soon. I like the familiarity and the safeness I feel in America, which is changing ever so rapidly, because America. America. So for now, America works. If I ever were to live anywhere else, I think that it would probably be either, you guessed it, India, or Mexico. I've never visited Mexico, but I like the idea of their culture a lot. I think that it would put me in mind a lot of India, you know? And I like the idea of making American money while living in a place like India or Mexico, where the dollar really, where it's worth more. So I like that idea. So I don't know that I'm going to continue to live in America forever. I just know that if I ever move, it's going to be to more of a, not even a third world. I mean, India is kind of third world, not super bad, but in areas it is. But someplace like India or Mexico, in quite a different culture like that. Not anywhere like Europe. It wouldn't be Europe, or any, you know, it would be somewhere that has an entirely different culture, because I love that. If staying in America, would you move to a different state? That's something I give a lot of thought to as well. Michigan doesn't hold a lot of opportunities. It's not extremely diverse where I live anyway. I don't love the weather, so, you know, I'm still trying to really ground myself at this point in my life in a spiritual sense. So I can see myself definitely moving out of state, and it would probably be somewhere more southern. Not super southern like Florida or Texas, but somewhere in the middle. Maybe like near Atlanta, Georgia, or Nashville, Tennessee. Something like that. I can see myself where it doesn't get as wintry. I do not like the winter. And where there is more opportunity for more diversity. I would love to live somewhere where there's more diversity, more things going on in the community, more open-mindedness. So we'll see in the next couple of years what happens. I really don't know right now. Childhood favorite books or stories, and why? That's interesting. The first one that comes to mind, I guess, is really weird. It was those, I'm sure some of you will remember, those books that are like create your own adventure stories, where you'll read a chapter and it'll give you a decision you need to make at the end of that chapter, and based on your decision it will tell you which page to turn to, what next chapter you're going to read. And so every time you go through it, you can get like a different story, different ending. I really love those books. I loved the Hardy Boy books, believe it or not. I used to read when I was a kid, loved the Hardy Boys. And still to this day, I love books that have mystery in them. Anything I have to think about, thrillers, you know, that kind of stuff. So as a child, those are the kind of books I liked reading. Exciting, thriller, mystery books. Are you a new book sniffer? Of course I am. Of course I am. I am an old book sniffer as well. Give me any book and I'm going to sniff it. I love the smell of books. In fact, I mean, as much as I love the smell of new books, I love the smell of old books better. So I'd much rather smell old books. I love the musty, ancient smell that you get with them. Yeah, so I definitely sniff some books. Favorite color? Green. It would probably have to be green. More of like a sage green, light forest green, mossy green. I don't like primary greens, so there's definitely like a primary green would not be my favorite color. But whoop. But like the earthy greens, I am definitely more in line with. Those are my favorite colors. Why? Does that color calm you, lift you? How does it make you feel? It makes me feel at one with nature. That's really what it does for me. I love that, the green feeling, the Mother Earth feeling, it gives me kind of like a sense of renewal, because that's what happens right in spring, is everything turns green. So it gives me that calming, earthy, grounding feeling, and I think that is why I'm very attracted to green. What would be your last meal request? Really? Maybe I should have looked at these questions beforehand. My last meal, that is such a tough one. I would have to give some serious thought to that. But if I had to pick one right now, I mean, am I being put on an electric chair, or do I just know I'm going to die tomorrow? Like, I don't know if that would influence my decision, but it might. I am thinking either a big sloppy chimichanga. Is that what it is? Which are like deep fried burritos. I think it's a chimichanga. Or nachos. I really love Mexican food, and I like it loaded. Like, so beans, meat, lots of lettuce, onions, maybe some jalapenos, some black olives, some tomatoes, tons, a sick amount of sour cream, and a sick amount of salsa. That it would probably change if I really had to think about it and do it. But offhand, that would right now in this very moment be my pick, as sloppy Mexican food. All-time favorite tarot card, one only to carry with you. Name the card, the deck it's from, and why. Ooh, I really needed to think about these. Oh, God, that feels good. Oh, wow. It's such a nice day, and I'm just feeling so nice. Maybe the moon card from the Pagan Otherworlds. The moon, like I've already said, is, I think, my favorite tarot card. It gives me the mystical, calm, ancient, mysterious feel. I think that in any situation I could stare at it for a long time and just dive into my intuition, those kind of hidden emotions. So I think it'd be a useful card to carry around at any point. And I love the Pagan Otherworlds. It just has that special feeling to it. Like, I love the artwork in the Pagan Otherworlds. I love the RWS too. And the Pagan Otherworlds is very similar to the RWS, but has a little bit more of a mystical feeling to it. So I think that's a hard one. That is such a hard one, because if it was one for the rest of my life, you're not saying I can't see any other cards ever, but if it was the only card I could ever look at for the rest of my life, I'm almost wondering if I would like something a little bit more happy. Not that the moon card isn't happy. It's not happy. But something a little bit more. For some reason, my mind immediately goes to the major, but it wouldn't have to be major. I think it would be, though. Court cards, probably not. Such a tough question. I think it would be the moon, hands down. I just think it would be. I don't think there's another one I'd choose, so we're gonna go with that right now. You're welcome. You're welcome. And last, Lady Knight of Avalon, Maria. What was it that initially drew you towards the tarot? Why do you like it, and how do you use it? What initially drew me was its sense of mysticism, the sense that it can touch the divine and give me answers from the divine. It connects to something I cannot see, and I can get answers from that part of the unknown, from the universal unconscious, right? What drew me to it is an interesting story. I think that maybe I went off and on. I thought about it from time to time over the years, but never got involved with it until years and years and years ago. A good friend of mine invited me to a Samhain event at a Universalist church. And I went, and it was very witchy. It was my first time in that kind of atmosphere. It had different covens of witches and their priests and priestesses, and they were all wearing their adornments, their robes. And then it had more pagan-y looking people, guys with horns on. And they did the circle and the invocation. They did the dancing around the flames. It was just an experience like I had never experienced before. And again, really connected me to something very otherworldly, something very magical. And after my upbringing in Christianity, that was something I was really reaching for and really wanted to connect with and to explore. And so after doing that is when I bought a tarot deck, and I was like, forget all my fears I've ever had about what I have been led to believe, what Christianity I thought had taught me. Because and since I've dived into the Bible a little bit, I've really looked at what does it really say, if anything, and that's a whole nother subject. But that is when I decided to do away with all those fears, phobias, old belief system, and really start exploring and diving into something new, into the esoteric. And so that is what drew me to the tarot. I like it for the reasons I've mentioned, and even probably more than that. I love that a deck of cards like this can really depict an entire life cycle. It shows all of our experience. And that I say that lightly because it can't really depict every single human experience imaginable, but on some level it does. And I like that it's like our entire life, our entire universe in one pack of cards. And it can be so meditative. It can give you so much insight. That is why I love it. I don't love it for the fact that it can sometimes predict future events. I struggle with my belief in that. I do believe it, and I still have hesitancy with it. So I am not I love tarot because it can read my fortune guy. I love tarot because of its sense of spirituality, for its insightfulness, for its deep dives into the archetypes that create our existence. And that is how I use it most of the time, is to look inside myself. When I read for others, I don't really love reading for others when it's a straight up, what's going to happen to me next week? Am I going to find the love of my life next month? I have read for those questions. I guess. Those aren't my favorite. My favorite are, how do I go about finding love in my life? And then really diving into what needs to be looked at, what can be changed, what can be focused on, what is our higher power telling us right now can be done to help you in this situation. And that's how I use it for myself, and that's how I love to use it for other people, because I don't think giving an answer is really going to help you, because tarot readings are never set in stone. You can change those. And me even telling you, yeah, it looks like the tarot is telling you you are definitely going to end up in a relationship sometime in the next couple months. That's not telling you whether it can be good or bad. And then if I do go so far as to say, it looks like it is going to be a beneficial relationship, you're both going to grow from it, well then, you might sabotage that, knowing that. If you're one of those kind of people like I am, you could go into that relationship thinking, this is going to be great. I was told this is going to be great, and this is going to help us. This is going to be good for us both. But then you're looking at like, oh my God, what could go wrong? What am I going to do that's going to sabotage that? So I think it can be a self-defeating thing as well. Enough said on that. I could talk about that all day. Coming from a church family environment, what is your relationship with the Hierophant card? I think that video is still up, but I did a whole video, Maria, on what the Hierophant means and what it has meant and what my hang-ups with it are. And those have gotten far, far better, because when I first started with the tarot, the Hierophant, obviously, it just put me right in mind of the priest, the hierarchy, the preacher, the top church figure. It put me in mind of that, and the doctrine, the doctrines that come along with it. So I had a lot of hang-ups with it. And now, to me, it has nothing to do with the church. It has everything to do with maybe a more doctrinal approach to some degree to whatever your belief system is, but it has something to do more with my traditional belief system, and not exploring too far out of that confined space. And that can be good or bad depending on our situation. So I have come a long way with the Hierophant and what it means to me and what it can mean in readings. So my relationship with it, while not good at first, is a lot better today. What kind of question or questions would you not answer in a tarot reading? Depends on my mood. I don't think I would read about physical health issues. Mental health, certainly. Physical health, not so much. It's not even that I think the tarot can't do it. Maybe the tarot can, and maybe some people could use it for that. I would be too nervous too, because that's very touchy to me. Like, I don't know anything about the physical body, really. I'm not a science guy. I am certainly not a doctor. So I would hesitate ever to give any advice on that. I know a lot of people don't read on issues involving law. I think I would. I would have to be careful how the question is worded and what answers they're expecting me to give, and what I would be very clear as to what I could and couldn't answer for them. I think, for instance, if somebody is going into a court hearing, I could give them a reading on what might you need to know, what traits do you need to take into the courtroom with you, what kind of attitude is going to harm you, what attitude is going to hurt you. But I don't think I would ever say, this is the outcome you're going to get. That's tricky. That's very tricky as well. It's so dependent on what the tarot has, a very finite scope of what the future can bring, because we have self-will and we are always able to change that. So I think you could get into a lot of trouble doing very specific law readings. So I wouldn't do that. What other kind of readings would I not give? I wouldn't give any kind of harmful readings, like, what can I do to hinder this person? What can I do to hurt this person? I even hesitate to do readings about other people. So if somebody is saying, what is this other person doing? What is this person thinking? What is this person going to do? I might dive in a little bit, just to allow them maybe what's going to help them, like what kind of information might help them. But I think that there is a privacy there too, and I don't want to trespass into a third party's privacy. Can the tarot do that? I don't know. It might be able to, it might not, but I don't think I'd want to go there. That is not for that person to know. A lot of that is private. So I hesitate to do readings that involve too many questions of what other parties are thinking in a more overall manner. Even the Celtic Cross, involves your environment and how other people might view you and what their thoughts are. As an overall, that's fine. But when we're talking specifics, that gets a little bit involved. Are there any other questions? I'm sure there's a lot of questions I wouldn't answer or would not feel comfortable answering. Those are some top ones, though, and ones that come right to the top of my head. So we'll end it there. Do you prefer reading to yourself on your own or having someone do a reading for you? Interesting. I'm too cheap to pay for a lot of tarot readings. I just don't have the money for it. I think almost all the time I would rather somebody else do it, simply because There is no bias there at all, and while I try not to, I think I can be biased in my readings to myself. I do love reading for myself because, I can take my time with those cards. I have a more intimate knowledge of what those cards mean for me and what they mean to my soul and what my higher power might be saying through those cards, where another person might not have all the information to really unwrap that card. So for that reason, I really love reading for myself because I feel like I can, in some areas, get more insight and get more out of a reading. But I know I have to be careful because I can skew those cards. I'm biased, and I can, if I really want to, I can make those cards mean what I want them to mean. And even subconsciously, I think sometimes I can skew those cards. Even when I'm not meaning to, I think that happens. Just because I am viewing those cards out of the lessons I've had in my personal life with those cards. Whereas somebody that is reading for me looks at those cards sometimes in an entirely different manner because they have different experiences that come along with those cards, which can in turn give me different insights that I wouldn't normally see. So I love them both for different reasons. And I think that makes sense. That's all. So, that's fun. If you want to, leave another comment. More questions, and I'll just keep this on going. I don't know how often I'll do it. I'll wait till questions build up, and then I'll answer them. But that was interesting, and yeah, I would definitely do it again. So thanks for listening. Thanks for your questions, and talk to you soon. Bye.